Women do not know what they want, and that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, right? You got to understand that the social programming, the nature of a woman is going to contradict her social programming, right? If her nature contradicts her social programming, then if a woman says that she knows what she wants, she thinks that she knows what she wants, you have to understand that what a woman really wants is the truth, right? Dudes say that women can't handle the truth. No. Are you the truth? Not are you speaking what you just think is honest in that moment. Are you true to yourself? Are you true to what you stand on, right? Are you true? Are you real? A woman wants the truth, right? Now, if she can tell you what she wants, and then you try to qualify yourself to that woman based off of what she tells you that she wants, you've instantly disqualified yourself from being in the masculine dominant position with her. You've immediately disqualified yourself. And then if you try to convince the woman that you are what she wants based off of the standards that she set, she's going to get frustrated with you. And oftentimes when men are getting disrespected and mistreated by women, it's because the woman is frustrated with herself. Because the fact that she's met a man who meets the standards that she already has in her mind, but she can't help the fact that there's no spark, there's no connection, there's no true sexual attraction, there's no real feeling she has towards that man. She don't feel submissive with that man. She don't feel feminine with that man. She's going to get frustrated with herself and project that onto you, then mistreat you. Because we got to understand that the nature of femininity oftentimes is going to lack accountability. Right? She's feminine at her core. Right? So when she gets exposed to the fact that she's in the presence of a man who she thinks should qualify for her, when she doesn't feel that man, she's going to get frustrated with herself, and then she's going to get frustrated with you. And sometimes, even if she could be with that type of man, she wants to see you the truth. How's she going to try to see you the truth? By testing to see if you are who you say you are. All right? Testing to see if you are who you say you are. If you're really secure in the stance that you take. Right? Women do not know what they want, and that's not a bad thing. Because remember, it's feminine, right? See, it's masculine to know what you want. It's feminine to know who you want. Right? It's masculine to know what you want. It's feminine to know who you want. And when we get into the sexual polarity quadrant, the truth is this. If you're masculine submissive, see, if you're masculine and you know what you want, that only helps you if you know how to train, to mold, to groom, to create that feeling in a person where they will treat you, feel about you in a way that's conducive to them treating you the way that you want to be treated. Right? That's not a negotiated desire, because you can't negotiate desire. You can modify behavior. You can negotiate behavior and actions with the person who's masculine enough to have character and integrity. But even that oftentimes is going to be heavily predicated upon the cup. It's going to be heavily predicated upon how much energy a person has to bend themselves outside of their natural rhythm and routine, right? But at the end of the day, if you're masculine submissive, that's going to be difficult for a long-term scenario. Because if your core is to be dominant, right? If at your core your desire is to be dominant, then masculine submissive is going to denigrate your dominance to where you don't feel you have the freedom to stretch that person. And if your core is to be feminine, right? If you're if you were in an abundance mindset as a woman and your core is to be feminine submissive, if you were in abundance mindset, you would want to be feminine submissive. Not every woman, but the overwhelming majority, right? Then at your core, if you're masculine submissive and someone meets your standards, they qualify themselves for you based off of your understanding of what you think you want in a man, based off of playing up to the animus, right? Then either you're going to meet somebody who is willing, but not what you think you want, right? And you're going to get turned off by their lack of dominance, right? Or you're going to meet somebody who plays up to your animus from the other side. It's the gentleman gigolo complex. They're going to play up to your animus. The feminine dominant is going to pretend, listen to you, maybe look at your social media, pretend to be everything you say you want in a man, and do the exact opposite as soon as they get the opportunity, right? See, being masculine, like I said, if you're masculine at your core, you're a man, and your core is to be masculine dominant. If you were in an abundance mindset, you would take a masculine dominant role within the sexual polarity quadrant, right? Then when you're masculine submissive, you're going to feel emasculated because you have an inability to stretch the person. You don't feel like they'd be receptive to you doing things that go outside of that social programming. It's going to be things that you want to do, right? Like, let's say a woman always has to build up energy, right? Always has to be given a heads up before you try to make something sexual happen. You're going to get turned off. Even if she eventually does what you say you want her to do. If every single time you want to fuck with her, you want your dick sucked, you want to do some shit, you want to give her some instructions, she wants you to explain it to her, like give her too much explanation, pretty much to convince her through your willingness to pour more energy out before she does certain things, it's going to turn you off. You're going to get resentful, right? You're going to feel emasculated. You're going to become a shell of yourself, right? And the thing about the masculine submissive is that you think you know what you want, but ultimately you're submissive. If your core is to be feminine submissive, especially for women, right? Then you're going to get turned off by the fact that this individual has an inability to be dominant with you, right? Like when you're submissive, you want to give up control. But when you have your own idea of how you should give up control and what that should look like, and you're in a scarcity mindset, you're in survival mode, so you're unable to be malleable about how you give up control, then you're going to be constantly frustrated at the fact that this individual is not taking control in the way that you think that they should. Right? And that's going to be a turnoff. They're not taking control in the way that you feel like they should. So even if they're giving you an opportunity to have an experience you've never had, you're going to have too many questions to ask. You're going to turn them off. Because I remember the Bible said that delayed obedience is as witchcraft, or delayed obedience is rebellion, rebellion is witchcraft. These are just some different concepts that's within the Bible, but you got to understand that a woman does not know what she wants. And that's not a bad thing. As a man, it's your job to be the truth, right? What she wants is someone who will make her feel that way. Who you are, her attraction to you, what you say to her, how she feels about you, how she feels in your presence. It makes her feel feminine submissive in a way where you can tell her the truth and she can trust that. She can rely on that. And one thing to understand about that, with creating that type of trust, with creating this type of respect, especially when you do it up front, a lot of it is just based off of who you say you are, what you say you're trying to do, and being able to be competent and follow through. If you meet a woman, you establish that dynamic on one level or a couple of different levels. Every time you set a standard of what you're trying to do and you follow through on that, you show competence. That creates a level of trust, that creates a level of respect, and that creates a certain level of her feeling like you're the truth. If you can extend that into another 1 to 2 to 3 different areas, then that woman will just automatically be feminine submissive with you. She'll automatically just follow instructions because she knows you're the truth. A woman wants to follow the truth. And the hard part about it is this sometimes, right? If a woman's masculine submissive, then the truth to her is that social programming. And oftentimes that social programming is not going to include the shadow of a man. That social programming is not going to include the shadow of the woman. It's not going to include her intrinsic sexual desire and capacity. It's not going to include her openness to changing her perspective or her views. It's not going to include the experiences that go outside of her spectrum and her thought process of what experiences that she could or should have. It's not going to be there. So the experiences that go outside of the box of what her social programming presents to her are going to be things that internally she's craving. She may be repressing and suppressing those things. Those things can manifest in all different types of vices, right? All different type of vices. Like, let's say a woman social programming is so strong that she's in the masculine submissive, right? If she's repressing her sexuality in order to stick to this good girl image, then one of a couple different things can happen. There's more than two, but I'm gonna say two. One is that she will need so much plausible deniability and have such a lack of being in touch with and self-aware when it comes to her own sexual desires, that all it will take is a man to lie to her, right? For a man to give her the opportunity to use reverse psychology against her plausible deniability, right? To make something happen. If she feels enough desire and attraction for him, it will speak to it. If her social programming says that she's always supposed to be sexually desirable because she's a woman, sex is what men want, attention and validation. That's what she wants as a woman. You know, ESF, emotional validation, social validation, financial investment. That's what she wants. So she may try to hang that carrot over your head of the possibility of sex. Shout out to Alan Roger Curry, right? Rest in peace to the GOAT. Hang that possibility over your head. But if you're investing that emotional validation, social validation, financial investment, and while you're investing that, you're not giving her the validation to show her that she's sexually desirable, then the fact that you're giving her the freedom, right, to not feel pressured, she's going to jump on an opportunity. It works like reverse psychology. And she's going to want it because you don't want it. But guess what? With that type of woman, that's not something that works consistently, because it might work one time, might work at a second time. But the moment that it seems like there's something that you want, and you want it consistently, everything becomes correct in her social programming again. And then it goes right back to the same shit of that psychological reactance where she feels pressure, right? Unless she's getting everything that she wants out of it. So you have to understand that a woman does not know what she wants. If you are the type of man who listens to what women say that they want, you take it too seriously. If you take it too seriously, right, you're automatically disqualifying yourself from playing a masculine dominant role in her life. Automatically, you disqualify yourself. Because you have to understand that a woman's social programming is like a straw man, right? It's not that you're creating a straw man. She's creating her own straw man. So that means that if you try to approach her or talk to her or attack that situation, argue with her based off of the identity, the idea that she's presenting to you, then you're not going to win that, because your argument is not really against her real desires or who she really is. You're arguing with this lie. You're arguing with this false sense of how things are supposed to be and her own idea. And arguing with that, that's her animus, right? Arguing with her animus just shows her that you aren't really secure in who you are and what you want and what you're trying to do. So that's not going to create attraction, right? It's not. You're already disqualified. You see men all the time who are on the internet, right, who are complaining about women's standards and the things that they say that they want, and all these different things, and women's quote unquote entitlement and all this other shit. And this is what dudes are complaining about, women's entitlement. If you take the things that women say that they want too seriously, you've already disqualified yourself. Don't worry about what women say that they want, right? I can't tell you how many women I fucked who said they were celibate. I don't know off the top of my head. If I took what they said about what they wanted and what they were trying to do too seriously and got disappointed or disillusioned, right? If I took that too seriously, I wouldn't have fucked. I wouldn't have. The gentleman, right? The gentleman who hears that, he respects that, right? But she still feels like he wants something from her. He's not gonna hit. The only way that works is through an exercise in self-control, or if she's extremely sexually attracted to him off of looks already. right? That gentleman who does things that way, she's going to take her time. She's going to get to know the guy. She's going to take the attention she has to give. If she feels safe enough with him, right, then she might eventually fuck him if he meets her standard of maybe getting into a relationship or marrying her or taking her out on several dates and giving her enough plausible deniability. But even that's not a guarantee, right? But guess what? That same exact woman who sets that standard is probably going to fuck another guy in the meantime. Same exact woman. And something you do have to understand is that unless a woman trades a certain level of her social programming for your program, which just means that she accepts into her conscious, logical reality her desire for you, her desire to be submissive towards you, and isn't so much at odds with herself about it. If she doesn't reach that place, then even if you bypass a woman's social programming, as soon as she steps out of that highly sexually aroused, highly desire-filled place, then she's going to be in a place where she's going to renege on that. She's not going to be consistent with you. She's going to see you as the gigolo. She's going to see you as the bad boy trying to take advantage of her. Understand that. But that does not mean that you need to try to speak to her social programming. And you can't logic a woman into the feminine submissive to bridge that gap between emotions and logic. Sex is one gap that bridges it, but that only works if a certain level of desire is there and you create that environment, right? There's also emotional safety, to feel like you aren't basing your perception of her reality, of who she is off of what she says, to the extent that if she contradicts that you would get frustrated and upset with her and judge her for her inconsistencies. She wants the truth, right? And she's going to be unstable in her emotions. That's who she is. When she feels that way and you're solid on how you feel and who you are, then her emotions are going to lean towards you being the truth. Especially when she starts to see inconsistencies and feel those inconsistencies, to feel unsafe within her social programming, like she feels unfulfilled within her social programming. But with you, you're this secure, you're this strong figure who knows what he wants, who knows who he is, and she doesn't know what she wants. She may feel like she knows who she is, but even that sometimes is based around the anima that her father projected onto her, if she had a father, based on the anima that the society told her. Right? Based off of what her pastor, her church told her that she is who she's supposed to be. When she feels the inconsistencies of that and it starts to put pressure on her and she no longer feels secure, she doesn't feel safe within that, and then she sees you're this solid man who has his own mindset, who's secure within himself, who has more happiness inside of him than she does, who has more peace inside of himself than she does, then she's gonna be like, man, I want what he has. You know what? I want him. I don't know what I want, but right now I want him. Right? So understand this, man. Women don't know what they want, and that's a good thing. It's Coach Brody. I'm out.